Hello everyone and welcome to today's live stream. It is question time, meaning it's Wednesday. So Wednesday question time is basically a time for you to ask me any question you have regarding game development, Unreal Engine tool, or anything you really want. It's up to you. We are live, so hello everyone in chat. Good to see you all again. See some familiar faces. Hello. If you don't know how it works, all you have to do is put your question into chat and I'll try and grab as many as I can in this hour or so that we're here today. Now, if you're a Patreon member, you get access to a question time queue jump over on Discord. So if you have your question beforehand, you can put it into there and we'll go through those at the start. And then as a benefit for you for joining the Patreon. So thank you so much for your support. A couple of things, a heads up for the channel. So private tuition is available. So if you want private tuition and one-to-one tutoring for your game project or for your school classes, whatever it may be, just give me a message over email on support@ryan.com, and you can see more details about that over on the website as well at ryan.com. Well, so what else is there? Oh yeah, asset flip will be starting soon. We got the new release yesterday of all the asset packs, so I've now got to set up 6 hours to try and make something. And if you want to play along, play along. It's a good challenge to test yourself and see what you can do with it. But look forward to that later in the month when I've finished a little game demo using just those assets. I'm looking forward to getting started on that. What else to look forward to? Over on Patreon this month, the JRPG series will be starting. It's almost finished doing a prototype of it and just working out the last little kinks, and then start filming it this month, sorry. Okay, so let's just jump straight in. As I said, there are some couple of questions on the question time queue jump over on Discord already, so we're going to go over and have a look at those first. So our first question, we've got two questions from TH Gaming. I don't know if he's actually, yep, there you go, he's in chat. How would you program a boss fight so that every set amount of time it rushes to a point where the player is, like a bull rush? Okay, so let's make a little boss and enemy AI thing. I imagine it would be quite useful to have AI set up already for this, because people tend to ask about AI questions. So we'll make a character. This one, enemy. Okay. And we'll make the controller. Well, controller. Enemy. Okay. And also gonna have the behavior tree, enemy tree, and we're gonna have a let's quickly set these up. So our enemy here, I've imported in some assets we can use for this from the played packs. So on the mesh here, use one of these guys. So we'll do boss giant. He's a very big giant. A bit smaller, I don't know. We'll do a spider. Create a spider boss. There we go. Do the boss. He's a big boy. Okay. Capsule here. Just going to change the size of the capsule to be more close to what he actually is. So right there. Radius. Boy. Okay. Okay, so there's our boss character, and we're going to attempt to use the animation, no, the AI controller made. Okay. And I don't know if they have animations already set up. I don't. Boss. No, so we got, what's it? Two folders. Cinematics. And any animations. This is him spawning into. You have something that walks about. Okay. Spider. Oh, there we go. We use this one. This one. Yeah, there you go. He's got a charge as well. So greater spider will do. Greater spider. See how he. Yeah, it'll be fun. Okay. So next we're gonna make him move around and stuff. I'll do something very basic. I'm not gonna do much on him, but we'll do behavior tree here. Selector. Sequence. And we'll make him walk towards us. So we're gonna find him doing move 2. And on a blackboard here, we're going to set up a new key, object, target, and we'll set this up to be a character reference. Oh, if I can spell. Okay, go. Go back to behavior tree, and we'll set our move 2 here to actor. An acceptable radius we'll do as 200. And that. And when it's done his move 2, target actor here, and he's reached it, we'll tell him to do an attack. Don't tell him to do play animation. Greater spider, I think. Greater spider. The attack. I do. Not going to do too much work on this. Okay, and you'll only do this if move 2 is set. So we go add decorator, blackboard, and we'll tell it to be. And okay, so do that and set him up to do that sort of thing. So nav mesh first of all, and jig. And we'll tell our AI here to run that behavior. In play. Give you a tree. Use that tree. And from there, I'm going to get the blackboard. Just go straight to the chase and set the target to set object. Aim. Make clickable. It. And the object value will be get player character. Now he's going to chase after me basically. Compile and that. And on the enemy here, I'm just going to make him move a bit slower, otherwise he will just run me right down. So on the walking here, I'm going to set his max walk speed here to 200. For now, we obviously pick this later. He's got no animation set on him. We could do a basic animation, I guess. Ah, screw it, we will. Animation blueprint. We want the spider. Okay. Spider. Spider. Hello everyone joining. Hello, how are we all? Simple state machine here. Actually, I might even bother with a state machine. Again, keeping it super simple. Spider. Yep. Spider move. Nice. idle. Walk. Run as well. Bit of a charge though. What's the charge look like? Oh, cool. Okay. Can I probably actually use that on here actually? If I put this here, walk in the middle, put the charge at the end, and I'll tell the horizontal axis here to be. There's me a bit of animation work. So speed will go from 0 here to we'll do 1000. So at 1000 he'll run charge at us, and this value here is going to be 250. Okay, so that's him. We'll change the speed on the character to match that, and we'll go to animation blueprint in our blend space. That variable. Put in a slot as well, just in case we need to do a montage later. And this speed value is going to be set on the event graph. Do valid. In velocity. Get the vector length. Get you the speed they're moving. Okay, so now on the enemy here, we can make him use that animation blueprint. On the mesh class. Right at him. Okay, so I'm just going to test this working first of all without a charge. First of all. Oh, I've got to put him in the world. Whoops. Hold there. Okay. Oh, it's facing the wrong way. Okay. There you go. He's coming towards me now. And so forth. So at the moment, you see him doing like this snap turning thing as well. Like this. He snap turns. If you want to turn that off, you go to the enemy's character class. And you, by default, you want to turn off the use controller rotation yaw. Turn that off. Go to character movement and go down to the rotation setting. And turn on use controller desired rotation. Then change the rate here of how quick they turn. So 360 means they'll turn 360 degrees in a second. So if you change that down to like 90, turn a lot slower. Okay. Get much more smoother movement with rotation. So if I stand here, he'll turn. Okay. Then he does his little attack. Get too close. Okay. So that's him doing that. Okay, so the charge. Now the charge, you say you want to do it as a periodic thing. So after a certain amount of time, he'll do a charge at us. So on his enemy class here, I'm going to set that up on here. So I'm going to... well, you can do it as a blue... There's a few ways you can do it. So you can do it entirely by the character class and set up their abilities there. Or you can do it on the behavior tree if you wish as well. I'm of the favour of doing it in the blueprint because you could use this for other characters and they use the same thing. And basically, the way we work on this is we take it to cancel what it's doing behavior tree wise and then do instead. That's what I'm going to do here. So on begin play here, we do a set timer via event. And we'll do a custom event here and we'll do charge. Okay, and because the charge animation is already on that blend space, I don't have to do any extra work because it's just going to go faster. But we'll say every 5 seconds he'll do a charge, make that looping. So the first thing he'll do is we have to stop the behavior tree. So for that we have to get the AI controller and put in the controlled actor of self. And the return value for this, we're going to tell it to get the brain component and tell it to stop logic. And that basically tells it to stop the behavior tree. Okay. Then I want him to turn to face us. Okay. So here we're going to take the AI controller and we're going to drag this out and we're going to set control rotation. And make him turn towards the player. The control rotation is going to be where the player is, so get the player character and get their location. Oh, wrong one. I messed stuff up. Get location. And you want to get their current location, the enemy, and you want to find a look at. Get animation rotation, and we just want the yaw. We don't want anything else, so I'm just going to split these. Just put the yaw in. We're not bothered by X and Y. Now he'll turn. Okay. And then we want him to like wait to do a charge. You don't want to do it straight away, so we'll put a little delay in there and wait 1 second. Sure. And in 1 second after that, we're going to tell him to charge. And the charge is simply going to make him go towards a certain point. So I'm going to do AI move to. And the destination I want to use here. So destination would be get player character and get their location. Get location. Born will be self. And so forth. After it's done this, AI move 2, on this top branch here, because you want to do it straight away, you want to change their character movement speed. So we're going to do that. Set speed. Sorry, max speed, sorry. Speed. Set to 1000. And that's it. Then when he's reached his target location with this, we'll do a little delay again. And we'll make him we'll just make him do the behavior tree again. So get AI controller, behavior tree. So there's loads of ways of doing this. This is just one. Another way to do it is by montage and make it play a montage instead. That'd be one way of doing it. Which we'll probably have to do a montage at some point on this because the animation's got a little tack at the end of it. So we'll want to tweak that probably later. So it runs it back on the behavior tree and stops it. And we'll put it on loop so it just keeps doing this. I think that's everything. Test that out. So he'll come towards me. And in 5 seconds he'll stop moving. Then do a charge like that. Oh, I got to turn his movie speed down again. So, set max speed. Back to 250. And wait. And here he comes. Stop. Charge. That. It's not perfect. We have to do something with the montage, really. Yeah. There you go. So there's a basic way of doing it. Okay. So yeah. One thing I've been playing on my mind recently is I want to do like a boss series where I'm going to make a boss and play around with that and do things like this and do like phases and things like that. But that's way off in the future. We'll work about that later. Okay. TH Gaming's other question, which I won't answer right now, well, I won't do a visual demonstration of it, but I'll answer it as best I can. So he's asking, how do you create an endless runner loop like the one in loading screens for Assassin's Creed or God of War, where the player is running ahead into what appears to be darkness or around a loop of some kind? There's two ways. They are either running around, running like this, and then it teleports them back to the start. Either that, or actually, there's three ways. There's that, or they just let the characters run forever and just make the mesh just procedurally generate. The other method is the character's actually not running anywhere. The level's moving around them. That's harder to do. It's probably a lot easier to make them just run and then teleport them back to the center if they get too far. But generally, you can also make the level just a massive place they can just run around in. That's empty. That'd be just fine too. Okay, so let's jump into questions in the chat here. Sorry, it took me so long to get through that one. Ryan, how to use the integer 64? Integer 64 just means that it's a larger number. Floats and integers have a limit of how big they can be. So if you need your integer to be extra big, use int 64. Otherwise, they're 32-bit. That's essentially all it is. A bigger number. Vlad, hi Ryan. Is it possible to set a trigger box? Sorry. Set a trigger box off with multiple conditions, so either the player standing in the box or looking at it from a distance, like an either or. Is it possible to set a trigger box off with multiple conditions? Either the player standing in the box or looking at it from a distance. Yeah. I think I know what you're on about. So, if you're doing like a trigger box, can you, Vlad? Sorry, can you give me an example of what you're trying to actually accomplish? Because it may tweak depending on what you're trying to do. Tushar, how do I get better at blueprints? Practice. That is it. Yeah, practice. I use Unreal every day. Yep, practice. And it's not just following tutorials either. Something I try to do in my tutorials is I try to explain why I'm doing things and how it works. Learn that. That's far more important. If you understand how it works, then you're going to make it a lot easier to learn this stuff. Otherwise, you're just learning how to copy people rather than actually learning how to use it. So learn the science of it rather than just learn how to copy. That's about it. Yeah, hashtag doing Ryan tutorials. Yeah, that's right. Oh, going off too quick. I can't read it. So Vlad responded, I'm trying to get a character to run away when I see him, but if I don't see him, there's another trigger just in the area around him to set him up. Right, okay. So, if you want to do that, if I want to, when I see, hang on, I'm trying to get a character to run away when I see him, but if I don't see him, there's another trigger just in the area around to set him on off. So you can do a line trace. For example, you can use the AI perception system as well. So the perception system is if they see you. If you want him to run away when you see him, then you can use you can report events maybe. Yeah. Yeah, how would you do that? So there is a thing on like the site stuff you can do. So on the enemy's AI perception, if you want them to be able to see you, if it's from any, is it from any distance? If it's from any distance, you're better off doing a line trace to the player. But if it's from like a certain range rather than a any distance. On the perception here, you can set the sight perception. You set sight here to 180. He has 360 degrees of vision, so he can see from every angle. If you want it so that he can only see you when you're up close and in front of him, you can use like a smaller angle, like 45, for example. And then you can use the near clipping radius to affect that. And the point of view backwards to affect that as well. So point of view backwards will put the cone that comes out from him backwards, so you can have like a radius around him a little bit. Yeah. It is from a certain range in an outside area, so the player may not see him. Okay. So yeah, it looks like you want to use the sight config for this. That'd be the easiest way of doing it. Also, if they get close accidentally. So if so the player may not see him. So you want it to go off when he doesn't see the player, but just senses they're in the area, or is it just? Yeah, I mean, this will trigger. If you change this to like 180, it will trigger when they see them. So if something's blocking their line of sight, then it won't work. They won't see them. But if they want to be able to detect all around them, like that, this will be fine. If you want it to not do that, then you just get it within range. Like, use a combination of if it's in range and recently rendered. Recently rendered, there's a node for that. This is not the right. I'll do it on here. Hang on. So if you've got it from like the player character, for example, rendered, you can determine whether or not they're recently in the camera view. For example, another way of doing it. There's quite a few things. So it depends heavily on what gameplay is trying to do. But if you want him to have a line of sight, then you will use the sight configuration just fine. Otherwise, you can just distance base or put a giant sphere around him. M-Zone, hello again. Hi Ryan. Any idea how to do a line of sight puzzle where you look at multiple objects, forms a shape, and completes the puzzle, like you see in Rhyme or Hellblade? So you have to look at it from a certain angle. Is that correct? Yeah. So for example, let's make it then. Class. We call it shadow puzzle because that's kind of what it is. This relies heavily on art, obviously, to make it actually look interesting. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to make it look really dumb. We'll make it look like they have to be lined up, basically. So I'll do a cube here, and I'll put another. Oh, do another one. This one I'll put here. And I'll put another one. Okay, so nothing fancy. So I've got to line them up like this. Okay. Right. So the thing you want to be aware of is that you want to make it look correct from a point of view angle. Okay. So you set it up in the actor. I would recommend setting up so that it looks normal when you're facing it in the X. So when you're facing this way, it looks like the way you want it to look. So you line up the asset or model or whatever, be like this, and it could be modeled in the modeling program. It could be modeled in here, whatever you want to do. You put it like this, and I'd recommend it keep it in the X. It makes it a bit simpler. And then on the event graph here, you do event. You have to be an event tick, unfortunately, because you have to always check where the player is located. But it should be fine. So we do. You can do it so when they're in range. You can do it like a sphere collision, so it only does it when they're in range. But regardless, I'll just do it here. So get player character. In fact, because we're using the camera, you want to get player camera manager instead, probably. And we want to get the rotation or the forward vector of it. Get forward vector. And if you are following it in the x-axis like this, like I described, so this is the correct point of view. What you can do is you can check if the forward vector and the forward vector of this are the same or near enough the same. Do that. I'm going to do a dot product. And dot product will output a value between -1 and 1. If they're the closer they are to the same, they'll become 1. So here I can do, if it is greater than or equal to 0.9, that would look okay. That'd be if you're facing the right way. And then you want to check if you're actually in the right position behind them as well, don't you? Then that would be got that positioning. Basically, if it's always from this point of view, you want it to get basically behind them. So anywhere over here. So I guess you want to check if their y-axis. So if they're facing the correct way, and we want to get their position relative to. Okay. So that checks whether or not we're facing the correct way. Next, we want to check that we're on the right side of them. So we'll do get actor location, and I want to check that the split this. I'm going to check that the y-axis is the same as the camera's close to it, nearly equal to. You don't want to be exact because you won't ever work. You will do nearly equal to the y tolerance of n 5. We'll do 5. The tolerance of 5, so I can go either way. And the x value is that's forward vector. Whoops. Yeah. Then the x value needs to be behind it. So I know what you can do. It might be easier. If you're in the right position, you want to just do a line trace from the actor camera. If it's hitting it and you're facing the right way, then you're looking at the right place. You can't look at it. You can't be facing the same way as it and not looking at it at the same time. It's not going to work. Like the angle's correct over here. Like this is the correct angle. I'm obviously not going to line trace. I'm not going to hit it. If I hit the line trace here, then I'm not facing the right direction. So I would do a line trace. So on here, do line trace. Channel. And put that there. And the start position is going to come from the player camera manager. Get actor location. That in here. And for the end, I'm going to get the activation plus forward vector. And way, so multiply. Oh. Whatever range you want. And then if this is a block, hit Um, uh, Workforce. Right, I'm gonna take it to not ignore self because we won't actually hit it, and we're gonna check that the out hit here. Break that. If the hit result is equal to itself, so hit actor to self, and then finally we check our dot thing here, and branch. Or I guess you could do like an and node if you want. Less. Yeah. And we'll do a print string saying success. Missed an S, but it'll do. Okay, so if I now put that into the world, get rid of my spider thing, trust us. Turn it around like this, for example. Him. Okay, so obviously I'm looking at it right now. Nothing works, but until I get like here, and there you go. It's now successful. I'm looking at the right angle, and that's correct. Okay. If I look at this way, it's not going to work. If I look this way, I'm in the right direction, but I'm not looking at it. I have to be damn close to it. And then you just tweak those numbers that I had for the dot and for the range to see if it is correct based on how difficult you want it to be, how accurate you want the player to be when lining these things up. But there you go. That's how I'll do it. No problem. Next question we'll take from V-neck. Wouldn't it be better just use a box collision? Then you can just turn off and on the tick whenever you overlap. Yeah, as I said, you could just put in a sphere collision on it as well to stop the tick doing all its things. Yeah, totally fine. Okay. Racing is fun. How to make health bars disappear from character view of enemies after a distance of 5,000 centimeters. The only real way to do it is to measure that distance, and if it is put on like a timer, so every second or so it checks the distance between it and the player. If it's above a certain, if it's below 5,000, then turn the visibility of the widget on, otherwise turn it off. There's no real other thing for that. Jello Man plays. How would you do Fog of War? Now, this is something I've been playing about with and thinking about for my RTS series, and it's tricky without having to do a load of custom code things. So the initial idea is to have a post-process system where we are drawing the sphere masks to the screen, and each unit has a sphere mask on it, and it hides this fog, lack of a better word, from the environment. But each of your player units has this sphere mask on them. That's what I would do. That's what I'm currently playing around with for my Fog of War for my RTS series, which I'm getting close to actually putting together the Fog of War effect. But we could try and make it now. I don't know. What's the time? I won't make it right now because I think it'll take up the rest of the stream. But it will be part of the RTS series. So it will be a custom post process which will draw the environment. All the units will be on a custom depth pass, so I can take them off quite easily. So it'll be out of view of the fog, and the fog of war literally just will cover the whole map. And then you can use sphere mask to cut out parts of that that render. That's what I'm currently looking at. Robert Garcias, Ryan, answer my horse collision thing. Oh, where's your horse collision thing? Where your horse collision thing is? No. Can you put your question in again, Robert? I can't find it. Most 10 wanted. What are blueprint interfaces? Oh, in the Discord. Okay, I'll have a look in a second at that. Most 10 wanted. What are the blueprint interfaces used for? And would you please show some examples where and when you'd use commonly? Okay, so interfaces are a thing I see. There's a couple of things I see commonly in forums, Reddit posts, Facebook groups, things like that, about common issues or questions people have about casting and interfaces. Casting and interfaces are very different types of things. So you often get people say, don't do a cast, use an interface. It's cheaper. It's not cheaper. It's not massively cheaper. It's not gonna have much effect on it whatsoever. But they do two different things. So a cast is used to turn a reference from its parent reference to a child version of that reference, whereas an interface is to give like functions to things that aren't related. So a common place where I use interfaces are for things like the interact interface. So if I want to interact with things, the way they handle interactions are very different. So if I want to interact with an apple, I want to pick it up and put it in my inventory. If I want to interact with a door, I want to open a door. I don't want to pick it up and put it in my inventory. So I can't just use an normal interact event on my character where I push a button and it'll do something. The long form of that would be then checking, is checking what item it is, like with casts and things like that, to figure out what I should do with it. Rather than do that, it's much better to have the object tell you what they're going to do with it. So the way you work with this is you put the interact interface on your objects, and on the player you call the interact event, and they will handle their interact event accordingly. And it'll work. You can call it without having a reference to the exact class instance, because you don't need that. You can just call the interface as much as you like. Now, it isn't as like efficient as people think it is, because of like they think, oh, casts are expensive. The reason why they're not is the computer still has to check to see if the character or the actor has that function. It can't just like willy-nilly just call it. So there is still a check going on there. So it's sort of like a requesting, hey, if you have this, do your implementation of it. Sort of like how you would call like damage events on it or something like that. Okay, it's like you saying you have a damage event, so you handle your damage event. So if you want to extend like the damage system, for example, you could do something like that with it. For example. So most commonly I use it for interaction stuff, but I've also used it in the past for like say damage systems, extending it. So if I wanted something extra to the damage system that's currently in there, I just make my own interface for damaging and handle all that code there and put event dispatches on it and so forth. But yeah. Right, so Robert Garcia's question. Okay, so question from Robert was, I use a horse pawn as a mount and I use a capsule on it that does not covers the whole horse. Also, I'm using some IK on the horse to make it behave okay on hills and when going over small obstacles. Thing is, since the capsule is actually smaller than the actual body of the horse, the horse goes around colliding with stuff and doing all kinds of funky stuff, a la Roach on The Witcher, and worse. Is there a good method to fake collision for the horse mesh without making a larger capsule? So, you got two options. One, you can use a character class with the capsule and have all that stuff working fine. And what you can do is use line traces to determine whether or not you can move in a certain direction. So if you're going to turn to the right, do a line trace to the right to see if there's a wall there. If there's a wall there, don't let it happen. If you're going forwards, make it do a line trace forwards to see if it can't happen. I do something very similar with my prone position for my stealth AI stuff. So I do it for that. You just do a line trace out to check to see if there's a wall. It's the old-fashioned way of doing collision. The alternative is you make it a pawn, and you have to make your own collision and movement system. So you can't use a character movement system. You have to make your own from scratch. That's a lot longer, but you can have obviously far more control over it. So quick and dirty, you can just use line traces to check if you can actually move that way, and otherwise you can have to make your own character movement stuff. Is dispatchers are expensive than calling function directly? In a sense, but if you can call the function directly, there's no need to call the event dispatcher. An event dispatcher's point is that you want something to react to the call, but it doesn't know who's listening to it. So, for example, I often use them for buttons on the UI screen. I want the button when I click it to report back that it's been clicked and do something with it. Like cast a spell, for example. So when I click that button, I need to tell something to listen out for that button click, and when it receives it, do something with it. And the reason why you do it like that is that think of it like a waterfall. To call functions on things, you need a reference to the thing below it. So I want to reference a button. I need to have the reference to the button first to call a function on the button, and so on and so forth. It goes like a waterfall. If you need to go back up the waterfall, you can't do it as easily. So it's a lot easier to do with event dispatchers. And the expensive part of event dispatcher is that it's always going to be listening out for that event. So if you know you don't need to listen out for it anymore, you can unbind it and then it will stop listening to it. But it's pretty much cool. But it's when you want to send out like, hey, something happened, and you don't know who's listening for it. Or multiple things could be listening out. Then yeah, you can do. Is it cheaper to use cast or use object type equal to? Again, two different things. So I'll explain this again. Hold on. So you got cast to I'll just do third person character, first person character. So you got cast, and you got also object type equal to as well. So object type, and we have to show. Yeah. Not equal to. Class is equal to. Is another way of doing it is like is child of. Class is child of. You put your test class and then your parent class. You check if it's equal to or not. Things like that, or you do is object equal to, so object equal to. But you got these things, okay? So these are various different things, and these all do different things. So if it's equal to, you're checking if two references are equal to each other. So simply put, it is for example, if I do actor overlap. If I do this, get player character. Pardon me. So this is simply the same. The actor, whoever it may be, is it the same actor that is also assigned to the player character? If it is, great. You can do whatever you want. The class child of is set up like so. So let me just disconnect this. And for this, we'll get class. Class. So, oh, not that one. So this one going to test class and parent class. In fact, I won't even use this. I'll just do parent class of like first person character. Okay. So what this does, it checks to see if the actor that's overlapped it belongs to a class family. So if I have a child class of first person character, it will also to be true for that. Whereas this wouldn't be the case because it has to be an exact reference copy. Okay. So if it's the exact same class reference, then yes, it'd be okay. This is just seeing if it belongs in that same family. Is it belonging to that? Which is usually the one that people want to use when they try to use casts incorrectly. Now, cast is this. So the point of a cast is to act begin overlap. You put that in there, and not use this one. Use this one. So with actor begin overlap, you're putting in the other actor into the cast. What this is doing is it's taking this reference and converting it over to a first person character reference. Successfully or not. It can only be successful if it already the thing that it is in there is a child of this class or that class itself. If it's not, then it will fail. And the reason why you don't want to do this is because you need access to a variable or function that belongs only to that class. So if you look at this, pin, it's an actor object reference. It's the main parent of all the actors. This is a first person character reference. This has all the functionality of the first person character. So it's different from the other actor. Oh, hello. You alright? Oh, my son's just come in. Hang on. Sorry, he's not well. He broke fractured his arm. My son fractured his arm yesterday, so he's obviously not well. I have a cast in his arm. His arm in a cast, rather. So yeah, as I was saying, so you want to convert this reference here to a different reference because you need access to a function or a variable that belongs to that reference. That's the three differences there. Okay. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that's why I look so tired. By the way, I haven't slept much in the past 3 days because of kids, and yesterday was a hardship. Apologies. That's why How To didn't come out yesterday because I was at the hospital half the day. He fell over in school. He was climbing something. He only fell like about that high off the ground, but it landed on his elbow in such a weird way. He cracked his funny bone basically. So now he's off school. He started school last Thursday. He's lasted 4 days, or 3.5 days. He managed before he had to take it all off. But no, thank you. Yeah. So he's 4 years old, and he's struggling with it. What's hard is that he has he has a speech disorder where it's called verbal dyspraxia essentially. Basically means he can't, like, he thinks he's saying the right thing, but it doesn't come out the right way. So it sounds most of the time you're playing charades with him because you can't make out what he's trying to say. So he can't tell you what he's done or what hurts that well. It's very difficult. But it is like playing charades. It's a lot of like pointing and like it's like if you talk without using your tongue. It's kind of what it sounds like. Yeah, hard going for him. But nonetheless, he's doing okay. He likes showing it off to people. But yeah. So yeah, sorry, no How To yesterday. That's because of that. More stuff. There'll be one next week. I was gonna try and make one for today, but I was like, I'm too kind, too tired to do it. But there you go. Anyway, that was that little diversion. Other questions. So, Vcom asked, I learned a lot from your tutorials, minimap, swimming, outline, etc. Do you have any plan to make some video on mobile specifics, for example, chunk downloader, touch interfaces, mobile lights, etc.? It's on the to-do list. Loads of things on the to-do list. It's just a matter of getting through them. I've got hundreds of things I want to make videos on. It just takes time. So yeah, it's on the list, but it's not on the immediate future at the moment. The immediate future, the next big series to come out, will be the JRPG series and the cinematic dialogue series, which is sort of like Mass Effect dialogue stuff. They're the two big ones coming out afterwards. And we hit our new Patreon goal over on patreon.com /Ryan Laley. So there'll be a once the RTS series is finished, we'll be doing a like Doom deathmatch, old school Doom deathmatch Quake game for multiplayer sort of game mode type thing. How to increase idle animation time from 2 seconds to like 20 seconds and still looping? Do you mean like slow it down? Is that what you mean, Mustafa? If it's looping, then it will last for however long you want it to last. But you can only slow it down. If you want to slow down an animation, you just go into the animation itself. Like, I don't know. Like for this charge, for example, if I wanted this charge to last longer, I'd have to slow it down. That's the only real way to do it. So I just change the rate scale here to something slower, 0.5. So now he move half speed. Otherwise, if it's looping as an idle, usually you don't have to do anything like that. Depends on animation, I guess. How do you Robert Garcia, are you planning on any performance optimization series or videos? Love some deep optimization guides. Again, on the list. It's just a matter of when I can get to it. Yeah, I don't know when. But it's on. Yeah, I do want to do. Length of animation. Yeah. But what do you mean by length of animation? Because like you can make the animation. If you make the animation longer, you get a load of empty space because there's no animation data. So the only way you can do it is if you stretch the animation data out by slowing it down. So what do you mean, Mustafa? What do you plan? You make it longer, but what are you going to put in its gap? Can't like you're going to stretch it out. It'll slow it down. Simple as that. If it's looping already, then you don't need to stretch it at all. It's any Cat G music? Do you know anything about UE4 Android multiplayer system? Not in UE4, no. I would imagine it's very much the same. I guess they have. Oh dear. Oh, not hang on. Go to the plugins. Plugin. Yeah. If it's on here, then yeah, you can do it. It's on here, Google Play. So yeah, can do it. I've never done it with UE4, so I don't know if there's anything different about it. But it should work the same as like the Steam version. You change the subsystem on the ini file. Yeah. You want the idle animation to be 20 seconds instead of 2 seconds. Uh, but I can, but animate after 20 seconds of idle, like neck move or look around. Oh, you're talking about like fidgets and things like that. Oh, right, okay. So you can do, yeah. So for example, you can do things like an animation composite. So if you go to animation, you can do animation composite. And if I could make one of the spider one, so we know what the spider looks like. Go to spider skeleton. And this composite, basically you can combine animations together. So if I do like idle, do idle, you just like put them next to each other, as long as you want, like this. And then I can then put in the react, like here for example. When he gets to this point, he'll do a different react type, different animation. Now it doesn't blend it. That's a downside to it. So you have to make sure that it has like a blending part to it. The alternative is that you have an additive animation. You could probably put that on there. I've never actually done an additive one. Let's try it. Hang on. Never done it with an additive. So, stunned idle. So if I put this stunned idle to additive animation, it change how it works in the composite. Yeah. Can't. That would be the way you do it, but you have to make sure the blending works. I'm not too sure if you can blend them in here. I don't know. But you can, rather than dragging out loads of copies, you can loop them. Loop. Or see, this stretches it out and does it 4 times. Then I'd do like back the end. Do this and then it'll just do its fidget. Okay, so hopefully that'll help you do what you need to do, Mustafa. But yeah, it's called animation composites. They combine things together. And this works just like a normal animation. You're just putting in like Vlad, are you gonna do blind fire from cover? I can do. The thing is, if I do it, it takes time away from our new stuff. For essentially what is quite a simple thing. It's just animation. So if you're behind cover, you pull the trigger to fire, you'll just go into animation pose and shoot the gun like normal. You just need an animation of him doing that. So you just change that animation over. That's all there is really to it. It's not much work in it, but yeah, I could do, but it will take time away from new stuff. That's the downside. Or finishing the RTS or the online session stuff. Okay, we're gonna wrap up in a moment. As we're getting close to the end. Trying to find another thing here. Hope you're having a fantastic day today, good sir. It's been okay. I watched Shang-Chi today. It's a good film. Hi Ryan, how do I do adverts in the game like you see where it says watch a video and gain 100k or ×2 of an item or whatever it is? Are you going to do blind fire from cover also? Oh yeah, I don't know. So adverts in the game. So what you're referring to are reward adverts. Last I looked, I'll double check again now. Last I looked, they aren't implemented in Unreal's blueprint stuff. I'll double check, but that was the last I looked. If I type in add. Add is such a bad term because it comes up with that. Nope. What will they call it now? Oh, it's set the area. Called. Hold on. What do they call it? Effort. Show ad banner. So you got these things. So platform banner. This is like the banner things you see at the bottom. They don't do anything else apart from that. Reward ads don't think exist in here. Show ad. Alright, so interstitial ads, these things, they're the ones that take up the whole entire screen and stop you from playing the game until a certain amount of time. That's what they are. So you got those ones, but I say I don't think you have reward ones yet in. No, no, not part of Unreal yet. Like that. Are Steam achievements accessible via Blueprint? I believe so. I've never actually looked. Yeah, we got achievement stuff here. You may have to enable a plug. But I've seen achievements in here somewhere. There's the Android ones. Imagine you could. Uh, yeah. I don't know. I'll have to look it up, the documentation. I don't know if this actually will work with the Steam implementation or not. If not, I'll have a look into it. But you normally have like a function that does something like this, where you put in the achievement tag and name and things like that, and you put in the percentage, how much they've completed it. And it's asynchronous, meaning it has to contact the server and tell it to do something. That's I should do it, but I don't know if that's hooked up to the Steam Steamworks thing. I'd imagine it would be, but you never know with these things. Okay, I'm gonna take one more question, and we're gonna have to end it there. Just to clarify. Auron Gaming. The video advert will be provided by external source such as Google AdSense. This has nothing to do with the engine really, apart from the triggers, I guess. Yes, you're correct. The advert itself is the way it works is you have to set up on Google AdMob, and or whatever platform you're using, and on AdMob you set up what it does and what it's going to send back and so forth, and then when normally in the engine, Unreal doesn't have it, but when you in the engine you send out the request for the reward, and you'll get a an output from it, and you'll receive the output saying whether the person stayed to the end, and if they did stay to the end and got the reward, then you can make the reward do whatever you want it to do. So yeah, the actual advert itself is provided by a third party, but the hook where it goes in and how it spawns and what it does and how it reacts to it is handled by the engine. But yeah, thanks for joining Chipotle for the Patreon today. And last question we'll do is I'll pick one that won't take too long. So Shell Stormify, how would you implement free camera following landscape shape going up and down on hills? So similar to how my RTS series does, so basically the camera panning left and right. But alongside changing X and Y location, do a line trace down from its current position and find where it is on the floor, or use the find floor thing to push it way up, like. And that's it. You just get the line trace from the camera to like the floor. Hi Ian, apologies again for last night. I've all that stuff. You know, you got the email. Is there a way to get the PlayStation controller to work in engine? So the PlayStation controller, you have to have a I don't use a PlayStation controller, but as far as I'm aware, you have to use a third-party software to make it work, and to treat it like a plug-in controller. Because I don't think it has PC support. I don't know if that's the case with PS5 controllers, but that was the case. But otherwise, it just uses the same inputs as that is on the project settings. So wherever it is. So yeah, all like these gamepad things will work exactly the same as they do on PlayStation, except like as I say, that I don't think the drivers exist naturally for PlayStation controllers. As last time I'm aware of, I don't know. I don't use one. I use Xbox. Yeah, you just plug it into this software and it will turn it around. I can't remember what the software's called. Maybe someone in chat can put it in. I say I don't use it. But that brings us to the end of today's live stream and the end of today's question time. Sorry, I'm, I say, exhausted. Thank you very much for all your questions today. Sorry if your question didn't get answered. We do this every Wednesday, and archive of this one will be up next week as there's a week delay. Patreons will get this live stream straight away, and so forth. What you can look forward to this week, let me have a look at my little notes here. So later this week, you've got the continuation of the equipment series, which is now finished on Patreon. So Patreon members have seen the end of that, as well as got access to the project files with the gold and higher. And also, for Patreons, you get the new part of the online sessions. And this week, it's the ready up part. So how to make the players ready up and for the host to see they're all ready on their screen. So thanks very much for joining me live tonight. And don't forget to check in on Saturday's live stream as well. This Saturday, we're going to go and work on our Zelda Retro Remake. So join us on Saturday for that. Otherwise, have a great evening and please stay safe. And I'll look forward to seeing you all next time. Bye, everyone.